That's because the Southampton Association has picked up the cost.
Ted, are we able to turn the TV?
I know we have Hannah and Amanda.
They're on.
Yep, we just got to turn on the screen so we
Okay.
can see and hear them.
We can't hear anything. Is anybody speaking?
We are now. Can you hear us?
We were delayed.
I could hear you.
Good. Okay.
Okay, I hear you now.
All right, great. Sorry for the delay, everyone. Tonight is the Monday, January 5th, Village of Southampton Planning Board meeting. Two members are joining us by Zoom, and they are able to vote because it's a legitimate approved absence. So just for the record, so everybody knows. So let's get started then. The biggest item on the agenda tonight is RRFACF, 560 Wickapog Road. What I'd like to do is continue the discussion on this and see where we are and if we're ready to move towards a preliminary subdevelopment approval. At our last meeting, I think we left it up in the air what to do with that area between the westernmost driveway and the next driveway to the east in front of the barns. The original agreement was for that area to be landscaped. And then there was a suggestion made at the last meeting that be planted. And then there was a compromise put forth that had a portion of that planted, or farmed, I should say, and a portion of it landscaped with the potential for a farm stand to be on that landscape portion right there by the western driveway. So why don't we pick up the discussion there and let's want to hear everyone's views on the application and just where you stand. So if need be, we can put this to a preliminary vote tonight if we're ready. Who wants to go first? No volunteers, and I'm going to pick somebody.
I have the same position. I don't care.
Okay. You want to start, Bill?
Yeah, I think, I mean, the compromise, I think, of, that you discussed, I think makes sense. I think landscaping is appropriate on some of that because there's just not a lot to look at in terms of what one thinks of as a farm. So I think that portion is going to be landscaped, and I think if we want to have some visibility from the street, then the compromise, I think, makes sense. So that's what I'm endorsing.
Okay. But everything else you're fine with?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. McFarland?
Are we talking, sorry, everything else being on this subject, this particular topic of the land? Yes.
Of the application.
I wanted to ask one question about the easement, which might have been asked last week, if I could ask that. Is that appropriate now?
Let's do that now.
Kim, what's the size of the sort of remediation area at the end of the easement on the pond? I think it refers to, the easement language refers to
The agricultural easement?
no, I'm sorry, this is the access to the pond,
The maintenance
the
easement.
maintenance easement.
Oh, the maintenance?
Yeah, it refers to a Schedule B, and I didn't see that on the draft, so I was curious.
The maintenance easement is 15 feet in width, and then there's a staging area at Phillips Pond.
Which is where where remedial, I mean, where equipment would be sited for.
Yes, you want to take a look at it?
I didn't see when the draft you sent around, I couldn't tell, so I just asked, do you know, what the dimensions of it are?
I'm sorry, the
dimensions of that-
staging area, I don't have a scale.
Okay,
15 by 30.
okay.
Okay.
About 15 by 30, and so with the 15-foot wide access easement, it would be about a 30 by 30-foot area total along the pond frontage.
Can I
Just-
just show it to you real quick?
Sure.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, cover it in time.
So here's the 15-foot easement. It's going to have to be along Fowler Lane
Yep.
here. Comes down, and this is,
Got it,
and it is the same width as this 15, so
Okay.
another, this little.
They may
Okay. okay. Thank you.
Did you want to see it too?
Nope.
Okay.
Okay, that was my question, because
Okay.
I didn't see it referred to in the draft that was sent
Alan,
around.
do you have anything? Do you have anything? Nope. Amanda, do you want to say something?
Well, I think it would be very helpful to have actual plans that showed the amount of feet, everything we were talking about at the last meeting. It's spelled out in terms of feet, direction, so that we're all on the same page literally in terms of this compromise that I'm also open to. For years, the view shed into the farming has been important to predecessors on this board as well as current board members, including myself. And I think that the area where there currently is a hedge, if cut down, would allow us to actually see into the property toward the beach. You could actually see all the way down, and you could see what's being planted there. That would provide a view shed, assuming that that hedge were taken down, and I believe it's from a tree between the tree and the driveway. But as I said, without looking at a page together, I think it's risky to make permanent agreements. But I think you have an understanding of what I'm talking about, that one area where we could actually get a really long view and see whatever crops are being done on the property. And if we continued that in a westerly direction toward the first driveway, when you come down Wickapog toward the beach, that area in front of what's currently a barn provides a good area for planting, which could also seasonally support the farm stand that I know the Fowlers would like, and I think would be very nice for the village to have that on an active farm area. So what I'm sort of thinking about is an L, and then we have an area for planting on one side of the furthermost west driveway, as well as an area for planting after that driveway, which I could see being beautified on both sides of that driveway, which would be what you would see when you first came down Wickapog toward Fowler, and if you wanted to beautify that. But I think, I don't know if that's the part that you're considering, but I think what makes the most sense for seeing a view shed, seeing farm activity, is the rectangular area, if you will, that is in front of the barn buildings toward the street, Wickapog, and looking at the barn from Wickapog to the left of that to the tree, you would get the long view of the actual crops that are taking place as far as you could until the construction hedges provide otherwise, but you would get that long view. So we'd have an L. Am I making sense, just describing it so exactly?
So that's the part I'm a little confused on. The area between the cottage and the first barn that you're talking about.
I mean, the mailboxes,
Yeah,
right, all the way east?
not quite that far, but by the eastern driveway along the east, before you hit the curve, right? So before, as you're going down Fowler Street toward the beach, before you get to the cottage, there's the western driveway, right? And then there's the eastern driveway. I'm not sure I understand what you're proposing with respect to that area and the view. You mentioned the view all the way to the beach. I didn't understand that.
Well, I meant in that direction, running parallel to Fowler. We wouldn't get to the beach because obviously there's going to be properties there, and our ag reserve area is going to be cut off. But you will see into that area, and not just between the road and a barn.
Yeah, so there's,
The eye goes further, and the eye goes to something real, and that's very important to me. And that, along with the area in front of the barn, having some farming and I don't know that the farm stand would be a permanent structure, but whatever, that would satisfy me in terms of a compromise. And then whatever you wanted to beautify to the left, rather to the right of that, which is the driveway, and two more major, not more major, but significant areas for improvement.
yeah, I think I understand. So You understand, or you're aware that, that area, which would be the foot of the L, if you would, is bordered to the south by a parking lot, or an open area where, it's not currently planted. Are you talking about planting that, or just the area that's currently planted, preserving that?
I remember seeing an aerial, and that aerial showed rows of crops in this, L, if you will, that we're talking about.
Yeah.
You
want to preserve that?
I would like to see more photos, and I'd like us all to really, really understand what we're looking at and map it out. But you're saying that there is an area, perhaps that aerial's out of date. Perhaps it used to be hedges and now it's farm equipment. It gets rather, quote unquote, I don't mean to be derogatory, but junky after the house with the mailboxes. There's a lot of stuff going on that front's Fowler. A lot of equipment, a lot of sort of stuff. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about west of that,
Understood. Okay. Are there any other issues that you have, or are you ready to go on everything but the one issue we were just discussing?
We're talking about right now the compromise of providing view shed into true farmland versus beautifying through a landscape plan and a hybrid of the two, and a compromise.
Correct.
With that respect to that issue, I feel like this would, I don't know the exact dimensions, but it sounds like it would be somewhere in the neighborhood of 2/3 would be the view shed into farmland, and 1/3 would be the beautification. Would you say that's accurate? I can't.
Yeah, something like that. I think that's TBD. But other than the space that we're talking about, which is effectively between the west driveway and the cottage, are there any other issues with this application that would preclude you from supporting a preliminary subdevelopment plan?
Well, that's a big question. There are other issues I want to hear from other people, but with respect to this one, I think if you're satisfied with the first driveway and the beautification on either side of that, and if in fact that aerial, which provided a long view, so that if you had a low 4-foot deer fence or log fence that you could see through, you could actually see into the farming further than you could with just farming in front of a barn. So I like this L, and I'm comfortable with that.
Okay. All right. Anything else that you wanted to bring up?
Not at this point. I think, Hannah, did you want to weigh in on this?
So I just got a text from Hannah. I guess she says she's at the hospital and the internet connection is sketchy. So I think she's in and out and may not be able to join us.
I don't want to speak for her, but I am aware of her views that she very strongly and supports the view shed farming option.
Yeah.
And I believe would be willing to compromise to allow some of the landscaping, which the Fowlers were happy to do because they know it was important to you. But I think that she's not going to give without getting that. And also like the long-view farmland. And I don't think I'm speaking out of turn here. I've had discussions with her. I'm sure she'll come back on.
Okay.
I think we'd all feel better if we were working from the same map.
Yeah.
Same, we could really all feel comfortable. It's difficult to
Right here from the
into something without
driveway.
seeing it. When we haven't even gotten, I think last meeting I suggested we describe it, 400 feet. And
what did she want
point
done
to
with
that. And I don't think that happened yet. Am I correct, Mark?
Nope, has not.
Landscaping and farming.
So what I'd like to hear from is the applicant in the context, if we are discussing some hybrid plan to that area between the cottage and the western driveway, what you would be comfortable with. So if we were doing a landscape portion that was effectively from the west driveway to that edge of the first barn, if that area was landscaped and you put a farm stand there, and then everything else between that first barn, the corner of the first barn, all the way to the cottage.
Put the plan down.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and everything to the cottage was landscaped, as Amanda was describing. With the-
Farmed.
Confused by the
Would-
L we're talking about here.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah. Would that be something that you would be comfortable with?
So we're talking about,
I think Alex could show you.
Maybe I'll put it on the screen.
here's the.
Mark, I'm sorry, I think you said landscaped, and that's confusing me.
No, landscaped in front of the barn, the first barn, from the west driveway to the edge of the first barn, and then the rest of the L, if you will, would be farmed.
Wait, so you're saying from the first driveway, driving down Wickapog, which you're referring to as the western driveway?
We're gonna pull it up if we can. Can we get the camera on this?
All right, here's the,
Thank you.
we're talking about the westerly driveway edge.
Before you start, why don't I give you a microphone?
Oh, sorry, yeah. Bailey, do you wanna just, yeah, all right. Or you could just talk to the microphone there.
Sure.
Wait a second, we gotta plug you in, Bailey.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Can you just identify yourself for the record too?
Bennett and me.
Thank you.
I listened to her. She's describing.
So this is the boundary of the westerly driveway here that we're talking about. So you're talking about this portion here that's currently nursery stock. which
Yep.
I-
Wait, can you zoom in further? For me, it's really small. I wonder if I can make that one bigger. Okay, show me again.
I'm hoping my blue pen keeps working for you.
Can you go over that again?
Okay. All right. Let me see. This is the westerly driveway that we're talking about, this area here. From here, in front of the existing barns, which is currently nursery stock,
Correct.
you're talking about keeping that as nursery stock or landscaped,
So from the driveway
okay?
to the eastern edge of the barn, it says irrigation only. I'm reading
So
that
like
upside down. No
this.
sense. No, the other edge.
Eastern edge, so
that edge.
here,
So that area would
Yeah.
be landscaped.
is that what
And
we're
then-
talking about?
Yep.
Okay.
And then everything to the east of that, all the way up to
Corner.
where.
This is our driveway here.
Yeah, and then in that other area too, that
This
says
nursery
nursery
stock.
stock. Yeah,
Okay, this is
all
all
that would be
currently
farmed.
nursery stock
Yeah,
also.
all that would be farmed.
Okay, so this would be landscaped. And this, all here,
Correct.
okay.
Well, that would be open to view.
Yep.
And to the right of that rectangle is what, right here?
Lands-
Right.
It's landscaped.
Well, I think you're talking just
No,
landscape in
I'm
front of the
talking
barn.
about-
I think you're looking for it to be like planted here and here.
Yes,
Correct.
yes.
That's the way I
Planted,
understood it.
yeah, planted all the way. It's an L.
Right, it goes from here and here.
That's it. The
Correct.
landscape part, the landscape would be
Yeah.
the first part you've
This part
indicated.
here?
and
Well, not
just
the whole
around
thing,
the
I think.
driveway.
I think just like,
To the eastern edge
That's
of the
it.
first barn.
yeah, would you, like landscaping here and like in front of the barn and then still have like row crops in
Well,
here?
what I was suggesting was if you drew a line on the eastern, just follow the eastern wall of the barn, the first barn there, straight down to Wickapog Road, just straight down.
Just straight down this whole
Yeah,
portion. you're
everything
talking about.
to the right of that, where it says landscaping, would be landscaped. And then all the rest would be, because that's what's visible as you go along Wickapog
And
Road.
all of this would be nursery.
All of that would be nursery stock, or farmed. You know, how do you feel about that, Rick?
What about the area in the center? Like, could we
Yeah, it's all-
still,
You know, landscaping like the plan you showed us,
yeah.
right? It's just a smaller version of what
So
you
you're
showed us.
thinking of like some low landscaping here, like roadside.
I don't want to landscape your property. If that kind of general overview is something that you guys can get comfortable with, what I would propose is, come back with a map that shows that.
Right, which we
and-
can do that, and I
and we
think
go
I
for it.
understand what Amanda's saying, whereas if it is landscaped here low, it could still be planted in this center area as well, and then do the whole L.
But I thought the L would be complete farming, and that the driveway section, and I don't, the driveway, it looks like it's at an angle.
It is. It's existing.
When I drive by, I see the big barn, so is that the barn? Where is the barn? Because the barn looks like it's like,
This one,
that's just a barn, yeah, so
Yeah.
that, okay, that's the barn,
yeah.
and in front of that is where it'd be landscape. Where was this other area where you were talking about prettying up the entrance?
So Amanda, as you drive
Oh,
by.
right here.
As you drive by, where it says barn, the first barn, the western barn, you see that building. The eastern barn that says barn/well, there's actually a privet planted in front of that so that you don't really see that building. So the compromise, since we had previously agreed and been discussing this application for at least a year about landscaping that entire area, driveway to driveway, the compromise would be the right-hand rectangle landscape, just a downscaled version of the, what we had been talking about for a year, and then everything else you can farm.
What I would say about that is we would just do low landscaping here, maybe some taller here, but so you could still see
Yeah.
the view shed like you're asking for, and it would just be continuous.
That works, just a downscaled version of that landscape plan that was in the file that we've
Right.
been working off for a year.
Yeah,
I mean.
And what,
but I would
Mark-
say
That's
even
fine.
go further and just like take down any tall stuff and leave it low so you can achieve your view shed like you're trying to
Well,
achieve.
aren't there some nice trees there? I'm not,
There's some
I'm
existing
not
trees
saying
that would
cut
stay. We're
down
not going to cut
trees.
them down.
Yeah,
The
okay.
existing ones we would leave.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Mark made reference to an area that's junked up with, vehicles and this and that, and I saw that an aerial that looked like it had some very nice row crops that
Yeah,
were,
it's right here.
and they were all
Yeah.
not visible because of hedges and trees and whatever else, and all that would be gone and replaced with the
Yeah, so
low.
there's a little
Your
hedge
fence.
right here that we said we would take down, so we could see the roads. which we-
What would you estimate the view would be into the ag reserve, because of that area, if someone were to stand there and want to look at it? How far do you
You'll see
think
the
they would be
row,
able to
you'll see the
see
row
it?
crops like you, yeah, I don't know how deep it would be, but you'd see the row
Don't
crops.
touch the microphone.
Okay.
I'm just saying, you would see, it would be a long view, it wouldn't be,
Yeah, it'd be longer than what you could see now because there would be no privet here to preclude you from seeing it.
and you do intend to continue to,
Definitely.
plant it.
Right,
That
and we know
aerial-
that's important to you, so we're willing to do that.
Yeah, I really, really want, see, what you're showing me now is helpful.
Yeah.
This picture. So, Mark, you're talking about, pointing out, you're talking about, everything that's green is what I'm talking about, right? I'll be
Yes.
able to see it, it'll be low, and it will go back,
Correct.
and then everything to the left of this, can you with your finger show me where you're gonna plant for Mark his landscaping design? I see the white barn, you're talking about sort of
Use
that
the
area in front of that.
I think Alex is gonna use the
Sorry,
mouse.
I drew this as a reference. This is an aerial from 2022. And this was planted. And this is the area, Mark, you're talking about landscaping in front of this barn.
That's just a suggestion.
So
But
that
can you
corner
also,
would
the hedge that's along the road that outlines that green area,
This hedge.
we could remove that.
Yeah,
So
right, so this-
that, we would remove that
Yes,
so you
this
can see
hedging
it.
would be removed.
So you
all
have
the
tall,
edging.
yeah,
would be
right,
removed.
yeah, along the green area, we would remove the hedge, yes.
Now, if there is one driveway here in the middle here, that's the driveway we're talking about when we say this is the driveway, right?
Yeah,
The eastern driveway, yeah.
But it would just be whatever dirt road through the crops, whatever, but it
Right.
would be open as
yeah, it's a
well.
farm road, yeah.
And then the landscaping would be the white barn that's not in green, and that sort of
Yeah,
slightly fanned area. What is the little structure with the gray right there?
that's the farm stand.
Okay, so that is kind of a permanent, it just stays there and it goes into effect once in a while?
It's actually not there right now. That was like a temporary, so it would remain temporary.
This is 2025 for reference,
Yeah.
so I'm
Okay.
showing how it's evolved over time.
Yeah,
Well, that's why I was saying it looks like from this, it's 2/3 would be farm, farming, and 1/3 would be a pretty landscape,
Yeah,
and I'm comfortable with that.
I think that's helpful, Alex.
Yeah.
I think that goes a long way to fulfill the village code's, desire and our obligation to keep a little bit of farming here.
And truthfully, it's gonna extend even more into that other 1/3 because it's not just gonna be like a hard line. I mean, we're just gonna keep extending the rows, basically.
Well, with the hedges down and the 4-foot max height, I think everyone walking, driving, bicycling can see in. And that is very important and would be much appreciated.
Yeah, and we're
That'll be
good with that.
So, Hannah, are you able to join us? Okay, so what I might suggest then is, I'd like to propose, this is not official proposal, but I'd like to suggest that,
And I have a text from Hannah. Shall I read it? I'm sorry, Mark, I just saw I have a text. Do you have a text from her as well?
yeah, she can hear bits and pieces,
It's
but
losing the connection, goes in and out, totally gone now. This may be because I'm in the hospital. I want the view shed that Amanda started describing and will vote yes to the plan approval with a hybrid compromise of farming and landscaping. I can hear bits and pieces of the video. I'll view it tomorrow. I give up. Call me if you need me to vote.
okay, thank you. So, to move this application forward, what I'd like to do is, in a minute, make a proposal for a resolution to grant preliminary subdevelopment approval with at least one, possibly two caveats. The second Alan's going to talk about in a second, but the first caveat would be we just take this space here and move, kick the can down the road, if you will, till final approval. In the meantime, if you guys could come up with a design that works for you, then we can consider it as part of the final subdevelopment approval. And Alan, you had a second issue that you wanted to
Well,
address?
I'm gonna vote in favor, except for the fact I'm not approving anything to do with the agricultural lease. Because I continue to have the view that a village as opposed to a town, under the New York State agricultural laws, section 300, 301, everything else, which I can't get on Google, because I'm limited technologically. The village does not have to follow what the town approves, because the law states that it applies to towns throughout New York State, but the law specifically says the villages are not subject to it. And so the village of Southampton, for instance, to my direct knowledge, I don't think has yet to rescind not having horses. I don't think the lease can have a pig farm there. There are certain things, or a llama farm maybe, who knows?
So Alan,
could do-
your objection, you object to the establishment of a 7-acre agricultural reserve?
I'm objecting to the village. The village can do anything it wants under the law. It can do 7 acres is the minimum as stipulated, but it doesn't apply to the Fowlers, because the Fowlers have 2 other farms that are town farms.
Okay, so you're okay with the agricultural reserve and the farm operation
Because
continuing?
they can incorporate, by the law, which I've read excerpts of, they can incorporate the David White's Lane and the one across Fowler Street. That can be incorporated because it's actively in their farming operation. They have a lot more acres than 7 acres now. This is just the tip of the iceberg.
So what is the part that you object to then?
And I don't
I'm
wanna
not clear, I'm
incorporate
sorry.
I don't want to incorporate the state law, but the state law says they can do all sorts of things. You can have horses, you can have pigs, you can all sorts of things. We want to, our authority is to deal with the village issues for what is not permitted under the village version of the agricultural law in the form of a long term for his heirs, successors, and assigns. At least their ability to deal with this land.
So you want,
Incorporating the state law incorporates a lot of stuff. It's by vote for the 60 years I've been in this village, some of it's illegal in the village. They've had a big village dispute over random animals. It was under Romanowski, his wife's family. They're also, the village has issues that has to be incorporated in that lease.
So,
Fine.
He wants greater restrictions.
well, so.
And the agricultural reserve, the grant of agricultural reserve easement.
Yeah,
So let me just.
the town is fine.
Let me clear,
But not the village.
yeah, let me clarify something. You want restrictions added to the ag easement, or you don't believe that New York Ag and Markets law applies to village code issues that would prevent agricultural
As I-
things from taking
as-
place on
as-
this reserve?
It's up to our brilliant lawyers and John Bennett, who's an expert in defending town ag reserve as to whether it's a restriction on the town version. I don't care. But the village has the authority under the law to impose reasonable restrictions for granting otherwise a town lease.
And you want that recognized.
And I just, we can do it, don't have to do it now, we can do it later. It involves discussion, they can do all sorts of things, but the village of Southampton has existing legal restrictions. The trustees can amend it. I don't care if the trustees amend it, it's fine.
What's your objection to the fact that this seems to override
Yeah,
the village?
yeah, it's just Incorporating the town restrictions into the village, I don't think we have to do it, and the law
The
doesn't say
only-
we have to do it.
Town or state?
Town. The state imposes it on the town, and to impose it on the village, I don't think we should do.
The only restriction in the village code that I'm aware of is the prohibition against animal husbandry. That's in the village code. If that's something that's
That's
the
fine.
that's the only prohibition I'm aware of. I'm not aware of any other, as far as when you were talking about horses and so
In
forth.
discussion with the Fowler family and counsel for them and everything else, we have to find out what they are. I was a personal victim of the animal husbandry one for a lady I was once married to, and her brother and her sister. They couldn't ride horses in the village.
So is that the only
That's the
problem you have with is?
I'm told that if Ricky and his family want to grow pigs, I don't think it's allowed. But I'm not a. If DePetris was here, I would ask him what's the law. But this has been an issue before the village for decades. What can you do inside the village?
I think there is an issue as to whether or not that animal husbandry law would survive an interpretation request by the applicant to Ags and Markets. They can make a request to the
If they go to Ags and
commissioner.
Market and the village is overruled, that'll be a new issue. I've known people that have been a victim of the village capacity to put on reasonable restrictions separate from the town.
So the animal husbandry is the only restriction in the village code that I'm aware of. That's
Okay.
the only,
Are you sure it's animal husbandry and it's not specific to just horses? I
no,
thought-
it's animal husbandry.
It says
It's
that-
all.
It's
a-
not
all
permitted in any
animals.
zoning district.
Right, in all districts,
In the
except
code.
that there's a small allowance for horses with a special type of permit.
A certain amount.
A certain amount
of
based on lot
horses.
size,
Yeah,
for
okay.
riding horses,
All right.
correct.
It needs to be reviewed. This is for the village, not the town.
Yeah, but I'm not sure how we'd even word a resolution or a
I'm not
a
practicing law
motion.
anymore. A good lawyer can do it.
I don't even know if they would agree to that.
The Fowlers want their children to ride horses. They got other lots they can ride horses on. This
Well,
damn parcel, not one.
or you can go to the village and get a special permit to have a
Yes.
horse, right?
It's a temporary permit from
Yeah.
the building inspector if the lot meets a certain size. That's allowed.
That's the latest caveat? Yeah, that's happened since.
So maybe you could suggest the
That's
wording
happened since
for a
1958.
motion to to vote on preliminary subdevelopment approval and hold off on this green area.
Well, I don't, it doesn't
And-
sound like Mr.
and with-
McFarland will vote for it with, just the agricultural markets law
No,
in the reserve.
I'll be a minority. I'm not gonna incorporate the agricultural market reserve of the state applying to the town at this time, because it needs real study. Otherwise, I'm all for it.
Well, that's the biggest component, though. That's the biggest component of this application is the agricultural reserve. So, I mean-
I'm gonna have to vote against it, because that's, if you know one, even with what you, Alex has said, I haven't studied that law in a long time.
Ms. Larkin, do you have a view on this?
And New York State Ag and Markets Law applies to villages and it applies to towns. It does. It applies across the board throughout New York State.
and I agree with that.
But I know, but I pulled up, with the damn Google, I pulled up a law that says it doesn't apply to the villages.
I know, and I've looked each
And
time you've mentioned it,
I
I've
know,
done
and
in
I'm trying to find it.
legal
and
research, and I
I
cannot
had a
find
printout,
that.
and I've been trying to find it, and the village has a restriction against horses. Just for instance, that's the one I happened to know by accident personally. I even moved the damn stable to make it into a rest house. That was the result of the law. I think it was Bob Cameron was mayor. He was doing my plumbing and he was mayor and he got rid of horses.
I mean, I think we can continue to research this, but you would still get a chance at final subdevelopment approval
Oh, yeah, no, I
to,
don't worry, yeah.
so at this point,
It'll be solved.
what
but
I'd like to, then
I
I'm
don't
just
wanna
gonna
approve
push
it now.
this along. I'd like, before I do that, you wanna say anything?
No.
Okay. So I'd like to make a
And by the
motion.
way, her partner, John Bennett, totally disagrees with me. He thinks that the town runs the village. He's told me, and he's got lots of litigation and clients and everything. He's up to here in those issues with all sorts of stuff. He's an expert. He always is.
Understood.
I deal with him all the time before him and against. He's represented me. He's a good lawyer. I know all about it. But
Understood.
he has a different view, and I don't think he's right.
Okay.
And council doesn't think I'm right. And I'd start with section 300 of the law of the ag, and 301, all those, and I can't, and I printed it out, and I tried to bring it to one of these hearings, and I left it on my dashboard, and then I wanted to give it to you the next day, I couldn't find it.
Okay. All right, so I don't think we have to settle that one tonight, because we've got time. So I'd like to make a motion to approve preliminary subdevelopment approval.
Subdivision.
Or subdivision for this application, with the only caveat being the area between the cottage and the western driveway. We'll finalize that at final subdevelopment approval based on you coming back to us with a plan and a map that shows that. Second?
Is this going to be pursuant to written findings at a future meeting, or do you have a draft
I have a
resolution
draft.
for the board members to look at?
Yeah, we have, I think everybody's seen that draft.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to incorporate, I'll vote against it if it incorporates it without revision and further analysis, the town ag easement into the village.
At final.
It's the first one the village has ever done,
Yeah, okay. All right, so you'll second that motion?
with the caveat that the ag thing is not incorporated. All the rest of it, I'm all for it, I've been for a while. I don't care about the viewscape. I think that the Fowlers can do anything responsible to grow as long as they want to before they are forced to do over 3 generations more estate planning.
All right, do you want to, since you're attaching an amendment to this, you want to restate the motion?
Well, do you want to, Mark, why don't you try to see how the other board members feel about the motion that you just
Okay.
made?
Do you want,
I'm gonna support Alan at this point, because I don't know that we know the answer to that question, but otherwise I'm fine.
Okay, then I don't think you can
then
move
I'm not
tonight.
gonna, then I'm gonna withdraw the motion, right, because, I mean, moving this forward when the ag, holding back the
And
whole
we'll
ag
solve it.
agreement,
And
ag
so
easement, I mean, is like,
It's Alex's interpretation of a caveat, which is 55 years, maybe 58 years or longer. I want to get it right. I want the Fowlers to move with impunity, to develop it, to farm it, to do anything they want.
you've talked to Eileen about this too, correct?
Yes.
and she agrees that New York Ag Market supplies to villages.
Correct, yes, she does.
All right, so,
Alan, so you're,
it's
why are
like,
you're just saying this based upon your review of the,
I don't think, I also know if the New York Ag Market, the village also
Unless-
has a
unless
rule that
the,
they can't
Hannah
do animal husbandry.
And
That's just one, just
Amanda-
for openers.
you have to
I don't
find
think
out how
there's much
they,
else. The only one I'm really aware of is this, if the village trustees say, hey, you guys, these ladies at the planning board, you just approved a pig farm. No, we didn't. There's no pig farming. Why? I think the village has restricted that kind of activity in the 4 remaining farms that are finally left in the village. We're down to 4. When I was here, there were 11 or 12, I could count about 11 or 12. So we're down to 4. No pig farms, okay? It can be solved.
actually, it can't be, because what you're suggesting is something that's allowed under the state agricultural and markets law. So,
That's, if the village
so
says.
they
no,
would have to agree voluntarily not to do
Hey.
the uses that you are
this-
speaking of, which I'm not really sure what that is.
Yeah, this is my point. There's some stuff, almost all of it is, and it won't be harvesting ducks with swollen livers. I mean, there are justiciable issues. But the village of Southampton is saying, with the last little bit of farmland left, there are 4 of them that I'm aware of, anywhere in the village, and I've worked on this informally for some time. There are 4 of them left. Some things the village doesn't allow. It's quite reasonable.
Okay, I think, just be aware that you're gonna force the applicant to file an application with the Commissioner of Agriculture, and they may come out with a finding, which I think they will, that the village code regulation against animal husbandry is unreasonably restrictive of farming, and
Yep.
I think at that point,
I think the village council, who's mostly a town lawyer, agrees. But the town absolutely agrees. I've got no problem with it.
you mean the
and-
village?
The village council is historically always been a town lawyer. She's brand new at doing the village. She's very good.
Eileen, you're talking about?
Eileen,
Yes, I've
I
met
told
with her
her.
several times over this. She agrees that Ags and Markets is.
She agrees on a lot of stuff, but I think she's bringing a town perspective to her legal judgment.
Okay,
And she-
I would have to disagree with you
And I tell her
respectfully. I
that.
don't see anything in case law or the law that stands for the proposition that you're citing, that the village
Okay.
is not susceptible to agriculture and markets law.
Yep.
okay, I understand your position. I do.
wanna do everything
I can,
possible.
I mean, I can
Keeping
only.
with the village restrictions that I'm aware of.
Understood. Look, I can only go by the advice that the experts that the planning board hires to give us good advice, which I think
That's
you
fine.
always have. And, you know, if there's some confusion, we go to the village attorney, and she has weighed in on this.
Yep.
So, you know, my response to that is I'm going to go with the experts that are hired to give us
Yep.
expert advice and trust that advice. So that's my view. Amanda, do you want to weigh in on where you are on this
Preliminary approval.
preliminary approval motion?
Well, my feeling is that there is an answer that Alan needs he needs assistance to get to the bottom of his question and get the answer that he needs and to feel comfortable voting. He's been on this board longer than anyone else. He has never put his foot down like he is tonight, and I respect that. And in a room full of lawyers, he should be able to sit down and get some answers so that he feels comfortable.
I
moving.
gave him the answers. He does not like my answer.
Thank you. The record should show that.
So I personally feel that under these circumstances, I don't know where Hannah is or whatever, we could certainly kick this can down the road a week or two so that Alan can get some answers, and we can all benefit from that, because there is some question about,
Subject to the resolution.
like in market law, and I've spoken to Mark, and I've sent him materials that I have found, and what is available, what's not, and how a village like ours can draft our covenants tightly enough that they will not be, I can't say they wouldn't be challenged, but they should hold. And this is a very important issue. This is the legal issues that we're talking about. And I think that it's worth getting the answers before we move forward. I don't think that anyone could fault us for that.
So let me ask you and Alan, if the experts that are hired by the board disagree with you, who is going to provide you an answer that you're going to be comfortable with? Where are you going to go to get that answer?
No disrespect intended, but we have just heard from Kim. But Alan has mentioned there are several people that he thinks that he needs to talk to, or that there's other people or other things. You're the chairman of the board, but I certainly think each member of the board has a right to raise their questions. And now would be the time, now before the vote. And I don't know where Hannah is on this. She's not even on Wi-Fi. So we can certainly try and do a little more to make everyone understand where we are at this important junction before the next meeting, and vote then. Would be my inclination.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean we don't respect our lawyers. It means that the questions need to be asked, and they need to be understood and answered, and or at least try to be if someone's that uncomfortable.
Okay. I apologize if I seem frustrated with this, but this is an issue that's come up now for at the last meeting and the meeting before, and it just keeps, getting kicked down the road. And it's not, I don't believe it's fair to the applicant. If you don't believe the planning board council and you don't believe the village attorney, then go out and, stop not wasting everybody's time, but you've got to be a little bit more diligent, in my opinion, about doing the research and getting an answer, because we just can't leave this open forever. This poor applicant, this application has been going on for at least the 2 years that I've been on a planning board, plus a year. And it's just, I don't believe it's fair to the applicant, right? So we owe them to get to the bottom of this as quickly as possible. And, I think at least 4 weeks should have been plenty of time. But I withdraw the motion. And, I don't think it makes any sense to move forward with the motion with the ag easement not being incorporated in the motion. Hopefully we can move this forward at our next meeting. We can get to the bottom of this issue, and by then you'll be able to pull a plan together for that area in front of the barns that works for everyone. So
You can't make a contingent one. I'm ready to approve it, subject to resolution of the full application of a New York State ag easement applying literally to the village unadjusted.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we would be able to approve it.
And I've asked that same question to John Bennett too, but that's not a new question. I've raised it meeting after meeting about the application to the village, but we can, it's approved 100% subject to resolution. And I have advice of counsel for the village from two sources, from Alex's interpretation of the law of the village, how it operates, and from eminent counsel who studied it, who knows it. She's a real authority. I'm not quarreling her skills in the application of the ag easement, but I think it is a material issue for the village of Southampton with respect to the 4 remaining parcels and this one in particular.
I don't think you can approve
I
it.
can approve
I
it
just wanna-
subject to the resolution of the agricultural application.
I just want to clarify, I'm not disagreeing with Kim or Eileen
I
of the
know
village.
that.
I'm not an attorney, I'm just saying what the zoning says with respect to animals and horses.
You reported it.
So,
You reported it.
Kim,
That's
tell
the
me,
background.
if we were to move this forward, preliminary decision.
Well, a big
uh,
part of the decision is the agricultural easement.
And the agricultural easement, as it's drafted currently, was
Is-
part of that motion. And then between now and our next meeting, which is February 2nd, I believe, we were able to find someone that said that New York Ag and Markets does not apply to village code.
Well,
How
I would
would you-
suggest
how
in
would
that
you-
meantime, you have to, you file for an interpretation about the village code. I was hoping to avoid any agency decision that one of our code amendments are illegal or restrictive. But I think that's probably what you should do at this point, is to ask the Commissioner of Agriculture for the state of New York for an interpretation as to whether
State
the
of New
prohibition on animal husbandry in the village code is unreasonable restriction on farming.
So I'll ask you all, how would you like to proceed? Option A, approach.
I just don't see you having the 3 votes
approach,
to get it approved tonight.
And we vote tonight on the preliminary, or we wait and see if between now and February 2nd,
I mean, you could,
Some-
how do you vote on the preliminary, though, if you disagree with what they're allowed or allowed not to do or do under agricultural markets law? I don't see how
Okay.
you can, I don't see how that can be resolved.
all right.
I think somebody's gonna have to,
So we,
I gave my advice, the village attorney was in agreement with me. We've done a lot of research. I've been an attorney for almost 30 years, done plenty of agricultural litigation, and I think this process right now that we're going through, I've been here since October, and every meeting is something new. Nothing seems to get resolved, and at this point, I think you need to go and do what you need to do.
so I withdraw the motion. We won't vote. You'll move forward on that, and hopefully we can reconvene on the 2nd and get this done at that point, or at least make a motion to move it forward at that point. Okay?
All
right. Okay.
Okay, so February 2nd?
That's our next meeting,
That's
I
our next meeting,
believe.
okay.
Let me just confirm that. Yeah, next meeting's February 2nd. Okay? All right, thanks.
Just before the Super Bowl.
Yeah. All right, so that's it on our FACF. 865 Merrick, 22 Windmill Lane. It says on the agenda, the applicant requests adjournment to March 2nd. Didn't we already vote on that last time?
That was already adjourned,
Okay.
and I believe it was adjourned to the following meeting after that.
All right, so the only other
We'll
thing on the
fix that.
agenda, sorry, Alex. Okay, the only other thing on the agenda tonight is the approval of the December 15th meeting minutes. So move second, all in favor of approving those? Aye.
Amanda's
Okay.
hands are up.
Oh, is Hannah back on? No,
No.
No,
okay,
Okay,
Not been able to, she hasn't been on for a long time. I was trying to,
okay.
you could hear any of Alan's, concerns, and she's just gone.
yeah,
Okay.
Sorry.
okay. All right, motion, if there's no other business, motion to adjourn? Second, thank you, all in favor? Aye, thank you. Amanda, feel better, thank you.
Yes, feel better.